Hello, greetings everybody. My name is Victor and thank you for listening to my presentation today. What a beautiful day today. So, I I'm an artist and I'm based in Jacksonville, Florida. However, I was born in Houston, Texas in 1995. I moved here in 2002 where I sort of began my journey and my calling as an artist. And so in about 2013 I started going to FSCJ where I met Justin Harewood, who sort of became my mentor and teacher, and he introduced me to oil paint for the first time, and it helped me a lot with my portraits because I was very inspired by the Baroque period and the Renaissance period, and I like chiaroscuro and dramatic lighting and saturation. So I was creating these portraits of just regular people, and I was always fascinated by people. I don't know why, and so and I was also expanding my knowledge in sculpture, which I found that I had a very strong inclination towards. And I was working with wood, metal, working with welding, ceramics, plaster. And all this really helped me with my vision that I had in my head. And I saw that it was good. And so going to my inspiration, I find I find that I'm very enthralled by machines or airport architecture, people, or the idea of duality, even Mother Nature and futurism. And you see this a lot in my work throughout the years. And it changes in aesthetic or its visuals, but these themes are kind of consistent. And so I'm kind of so I find inspiration also through other artists, namely James Turrell, who I was referred to, and he kind of explores humans' relationship with light. And he does that by creating these environments that are very simplistic but futuristic in its nature. And he sort of engulfs you in these very calm and peaceful environments, and it kind of makes you very aware of our relationship with light. And it goes way deeper than that, but on a surface layer, that's what he kind of talks about. And so moving on to Michael Reeder, he does very bold graphic portraits or just artwork in general. And I think he used to do graffiti, and he kind of explores the idea of identity through his portraits. And he uses a variety of material, actually, like cement or wood or paper. He does prints and he just creates these bold, very graphic, insanely colorful pieces. And then moving on to Nicholas Namiri, I found him on Instagram, but he's an illustrative artist, but I definitely stole his use of very hand drafted charcoal and graphic, um, I guess, aesthetic or whatever you want to call it. And I really liked his like very strong ink washes and stuff. And you'll see that in some of my kind of later portraits that I did that are like black and white and use a lot of charcoal and stuff. So these recurring themes, and you'll see the elements I was talking about. The recurring themes are like futurism, contrast and boldness, people and figures, fragmentation and segmentation, or the idea of industrial versus natural. And you'll see elements that in these pieces that are very similar to each other, like its brokenness or its segmentation, or its fragmentation that you kind of notice in it. And even in the later portraits, like the black and white pieces, the print at the bottom left or the portrait at the top right have that hand drafted quality of portraits, while it's juxtaposed against these very digital or graphic elements. And so it's that idea of duality or contrast and boldness. So going to my process, I start getting more hands-on and working with power tools and using wood and metal and stuff. And I initially start with a drawing or an idea. I don't really have a definite, exact drawing or piece that I have in mind that I'm going to do. But I try to keep it pretty organic and process oriented. And I just start with a general idea or shape that I want the piece to look like. And so I just draw it out. I map out how I want the piece to look, and then I start cutting it and start shaping it and molding it into what I want it to be like. And you see that here with the piece that I called River, actually. And so you see that I'm starting to shape it out and start carving it and stuff. And I'm trying to make all these swoops and very refined, sharp edges and use a lot of precision. And the middle is River, and the very far right is Obsidian, which you'll see later that I'm going to paint over. Um, and then the far left is actually the neon light that I had to trace out and actually had to give it to the neon light maker who looked at it and tried to make it as precise as possible. And he's very good at doing that. And it came out perfect, like 100%. And then we have the middle piece is like the painting and the sanding. The right is also the mounting and how I'm putting in the metal pegs to sort of elevate the pieces because it's actually a dome shape. And you'll see later on. There's also the wiring and mounting for River. And then, you know, me buying the neon light, and then it's also, seeing how everything lays onto each other and make sure everything is like precise and like good. And so, yeah, that's the obsidian when it's painted and carved and like ready to go. The bottom piece is actually cement, as you'll see. This is actually the a prototype. It's not really an actual piece. I just created it to got me in the mood of like creating these pieces, and it's really fun to do. And also inspired Obsidian to make it like elevated and have like some actual form to it. It makes it more interesting to look at. I'm definitely going to be doing that a lot more, and yeah, it's going to be really cool. And so Obsidian is made from wood, metal, and cement. It's about 2 feet by 3 feet and completely round circle, dome-ish shape. And it's very organic how I made it, and it kind of reminded me of a turtle shell. I always seem to find natural relations between my work, and I find like the relationship between like nature and like how geometric or manufactured it looks. But yeah, basically, um, in this series, I wanted to dive into my sculptural inclinations and sort of immerse myself in the essential themes of my work in a process-oriented and abstracted way. I enjoy essential modes of visual communication, and I decided to explore form that is inspired by these industrial materials like wood or metal or cement. I believe that technology has a relationship with its maker, and that technology relieves us from labor, and it allows us to be more fully formed human beings and frees us time to focus on more important things like love, peace, health, and harmony. And I do believe that technology moves us into another dimension of humanity. And I want to contribute to that conversation happening about our future as a species and how we can save the planet Earth while also improving in technology. And I feel like all this allows computers and engineering to advance alongside nature in a harmonious way. So, so if you don't notice with this series, I'm basically wanting to express my vision of a future using industrial materials alluding to a sense of assembly or augmentation in engineering. Hence, the broken pieces sort of sectioned off to create a whole. Um, and so I wanted to have like this overall sense of wholeness and fluidity, which also goes hand in hand with nature, but has that industrial look to it. And so my future ideas and plans are to make more complex structures, like fragmented structures, incorporating augmented moving parts that symbolize change and progress, to incorporate precise, simple molds to create more smooth surfaces and more precise segments. And then also maybe want to include portraits that interact with the forms to add to the message. Other than that, thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you for listening and take care, please. And thank you.